Hello, my name is Danielle Stewart. I'm currently trying to obtain a PhD at Texas Tech University. This is my research on teacher preparation efficacy, and this is for Professor Dr. Zimmerman, and it's for the class EDCI 6360, Introduction to Data Model Inquiry. So some of the background of why I decided to research teacher preparation is because here in Arkansas, which is my home state, we have several different pathways to teacher certification. We have, of course, the traditional track, and then we also have the non-traditional track, but there are several different ways to obtain that. I was very interested to see how teacher preparation affects teachers and if they feel prepared or not, and also I would be interested to see how that branches out into the different programs also. Because I'm an ESL coordinator of my district, it is also very interesting to me to see if things like the ESL Academy that our state puts on through the Department of Education, does that really affect teachers' preparedness when they get to their ESL classrooms and they have those diverse populations? In Arkansas, we have the APPLE program. It's Arkansas Professional Pathway to Education or Educator Licensure. This is what typically you would call the non-traditional track, but it's through the state. We also have some universities that offer a non-traditional track for teachers. Arkansas Tech University has a Center for Leadership and Learning, and through that program they have the MTLL, which is a Master's of Teaching in Leadership and Learning. And that, once you finish your master's, you have your teaching certificate and you can start teaching. However, there's not an internship or a practicum that is associated with that. Arkansas Tech University and also the University of Central Arkansas are very close to us, and both of those colleges, the universities, have traditional tracks for teacher education. And then, of course, within your own school, you have PLCs and different professional development opportunities. So, through the TALIS survey data, and that's the data that I will use to analyze, I wanted to know, how does formal teacher preparation training and classroom practice affect teachers' feelings of preparedness within the classroom? So not just that they have training, or not just that they have professional development, or that they know strategies, but can they go into the classroom for a practicum or an internship and use those strategies in the real world application of those? And does that affect how they feel prepared or not when they do have a classroom of their own in their final career? So with this analysis of this TALIS data, if there is no statistical difference between formal training and the teacher's feelings of being prepared, then that would be the null hypothesis. Thus, teachers do not feel that formal training is needed in order to feel prepared. They just don't see the connection between having that formal training and applying it in the classroom. But the alternative hypothesis is that there is a statistical difference between formal training and the teacher's feelings of being prepared. Thus, that would mean that teachers need formal training in order to feel prepared. So, through my research, I did a literature review, and I found there's so many different articles out there on teacher preparation, but I kind of narrowed it down to three different topics. However, there are several different authors within my literary review. These are the three topics I really felt related to the research that I was doing. One of them is the need for variation of teacher preparation. It's not just important to have one manner in which they're prepared. I really think that teachers need to be well-rounded. And so within this study, the variation of teacher preparation, they determined that certified teachers feel better prepared than non-certified teachers. Also, they found that teachers that started their careers via non-traditional licensure, or maybe like an emergency credential program, non-traditional program, felt significantly less prepared. And just a little anecdotal note, I was a non-traditional teacher 15 years ago when I started my career, and I will definitely say not having, for me personally, the internship within the classroom, it did kind of make my first year where I had to learn a lot. I felt like I was under the curve, but I wanted to see if this research would align with that also, not just my own personal opinion. So, ironically, neither pathway of preparation is statistically different more than the other. The study proves that a variation of methods is important for a well-rounded, prepared teacher in the career. I think that we know that as being in education, it is important for teachers to not only have purposeful professional development during teacher preparation, but also to have an avenue and a classroom to test out these strategies and learn from those experiences. So going back to my own personal journey, that's exactly what I needed, a classroom to test my strategies that I was learning, and I also needed just the experience of what do you do when you interact with the kids, or what do you do when there's a new curriculum? How do you implement that? So I'm interested moving forward with this research to see what is laid out there for that. Obviously, with my ESL background, I wanted to look at the studies for teacher preparation. When Hammond discusses diverse schools within her article, Constructing 21st Century Teacher Education, she notes that for teacher preparation programs to truly flourish, research shows that teachers not only need strong courses, but also experience with those courses while teaching a demographic of diverse learners. So there, once again, within that review, it goes back to talk about the fact that it's not just important to have strong courses, but to actually have that application of that experience, like a practicum or an internship or your first year teaching. Teacher preparation should be strong, coherent, and meaningful. The last one is obviously once teachers do get in the classroom and that is their career, what is their continued education and preparation? Do we just say, okay, you're in the classroom, good luck? I know some of us might have actually gone through that journey, but hopefully we need meaningful teacher preparation, as it's also important when schools develop professional learning communities, PLCs. This correlates to the continued support for teachers once they are placed within schools and careers. So this author, Eaker, states the driving engine of collaborative culture is a PLC, is the team. The team is what makes a PLC. That's what drives it. So with that being stated, how do teacher preparation programs facilitate learning in this way? And is there a need for more formal teacher education after placements in the school? So here's kind of my theoretical framework. In order for the feeling of preparedness to continue, the teacher must continually move through the cycle that I have put in a graphic over here. You have to learn these strategies, apply them, and then repeat them. So you have to have classroom practice, the feeling of preparedness, and then professional development. And then it starts over, professional development, classroom practice, feeling of preparedness. So it's not just those formal teacher education programs. It's not just being able to apply in the classroom, but I also think systemically it's continuing that education for the teacher. So my research method will be quantitative inquiry and the use of the TALIS survey data. This survey provides teacher answers from a questionnaire. The data was gathered through the survey and the analysis was conducted through the SPSS Citrix. So the questions chosen to analyze are listed here. So here are the questions. Question 12, were the following elements included in your formal training? For this, I decided to use the data from the following category. Classroom practice, like I've mentioned before, practicum, internship, student teaching. For this, teachers were able to choose yes for all subjects, yes for some subjects, and no. The type of data gained from this question would fall under the nominal or categorical data, which would make it qualitative. This would serve as my independent variable in my research. For question 13, in your teaching, to what extent do you feel prepared in the elements below, content, pedagogy, classroom practice? So for this, I decided to use the data from the following category. Classroom practice in the subject I teach. So they were able to choose not at all, somewhat, well, or very well. The type of data gained from this would fall under categorical. The answers would range from choices listed above, not at all, to very well prepared. So here's my question. I want to see if there was any correlation between formal training, formal teacher training received in classroom practices, whether it was student teaching, internship, or practicum, and how prepared they felt in that element of teaching. So here's my research. Here's my one-way ANOVA. I ran a one-way ANOVA test. Because the p-value is less than 0.05, I conclude that some of the group means are different, but it doesn't really detail which ones. So here's some additional research. It has the background elements included in the formal education or training, and also versus the classroom practice in the subjects that they teach. It's the post hoc test. The box plot, the background and prepared elements in teaching against, again, the classroom practice. The data in the box plot shows that the majority of teachers really do feel prepared in classroom practices. You can see where that falls on the chart, that they do feel very prepared. The frequency distribution shows that most teachers feel well or even very well prepared in the elements of classroom practice. The highest percentage is 45.9, and that fell within the well-prepared category. So we know that they do feel prepared after that training. So we're going to reject the null hypothesis, and we're going to adopt the alternate or alternative hypothesis. Because this p-value is less than 0.05, there is a statistical difference between receiving formal training and feeling prepared to teach concerning classroom practices. They really do need to be in the classroom to practice those. I just basically said this. I'll say it again, though, that the teacher's feelings of being prepared, there is a statistical difference between that and the formal training. So thus, teachers need formal training in order to feel prepared. So, in addition, these findings correlate with the theory developed through my literature review. The cycle of continued preparation must occur for teachers not to feel underprepared. Professional development, classroom practice, feeling prepared, and then it repeats. So just like the book, Teach Like a Champion. Sorry, I just saw I left out a quote there. Only teachers who receive the foundational skills will be prepared. So if we're not providing those foundational skills and then an avenue for them to go out to have that classroom practice, the research does show in the literature review and in the TALIS survey data that they really need that to feel prepared. Here are my resources, a bunch of the resources and references from my literary review. I hope that you found my research interesting and that we can maybe even continue this later on. I personally am going to use this type of study to determine whether the ESL Academy put on at the state level is effective for my ESL teachers once they get in the classroom, or does district level training provide the same opportunities. So thank you very much.